Hi, it's Claire from the Berry and Bobbin here. I wrote a blog post a few weeks ago about continual learning, and in there I mentioned that I have a sewing journal. I've had a few questions since from people about what exactly is in my sewing journal, what am I using it for. So I thought I would do a wee video to show you exactly what's in there so that you can decide for yourself if it's something that you think would be useful. If you have a sewing journal, if you have any ideas, I would love to see them. Send them across to me. I'm always willing to make changes to mine and include things that make sense. So I would love to see your ideas as well. The reasons I keep a sewing journal are I find that at the beginning of a project, I'll keep a job sheet, I'll do all my usual planning, I'll keep swatches of the material. But as I'm going through, I don't tend to write notes on this about the way the fabric's handling, the settings I'm using in my machine, even the thread, the type of thread and how it corresponds with the fabric. So completing a sewing journal as you're going through and at the end of a project keeps all these wee nuggets of information for yourself. The next time round, you will save yourself some time and hassle as you'll have all these wee bits to hand. It helps in the planning process as well. As you'll see, I take notes of things that will help next time I'm planning to do, say, a pipe cushion. I'll have a rough idea of how much piping cord I'll need in my stash. I'll have an idea of all the different bits and pieces together. It kind of makes sure we don't miss things in the mix as well. So I'll show you my actual journal. So it is just a big notebook. And I use this not just for soft furnishings. If I'm making garments, if I'm making clothes for myself, I find this is a brilliant way of keeping a note of all those wee fit quirks, changes to the pattern, things like that you have to do. A lot of garments, you've made something pretty similar before when you start it, so I do find it's really invaluable to keep it if you're making a lot of clothes. So this is my sewing journal. I start off with the date, the job reference and a name. I'll take a note of sizes and any notes about the sizes. So for example, this box cushion that I was making was for a bench in the kitchen. So I knew I had to template rather than just take the sizes that were there. It wasn't even, there was irregular shapes, the corners were cut out, so it needed a template. So I've taken a note of that. I've taken a note of the depth as well, because that's something that can change every time as well. And it can kind of change the look of the cushion sometimes as well. The fabric, I find this is important because if someone asks me in the future about the fabrics that I've used, it means I've got a note of the name. I sometimes write down where I've got it from, sometimes I don't. This one here is a Prestigious Textiles fabric, so I know I'll be able to find that online pretty easily. If it's something that's a wee bit more unusual, then I'll take a note of exactly where I got it from so that I can get back to it quickly. It also helps that if someone comes to me and says, I would like a box cushion, but I'd like it made in velvet. Well, I know that the last one I did was a cotton one, so the fabric will handle completely differently, and I'll need to have a wee think about how the fabric will work in that sort of shape with the settings on the machine and things like that, rather than just cracking on the way I normally would. Take a note of any notions and equipment that I need. So zips, piping cord. In this case, we're using the cushion insert that was there, but I wanted to add stockinette to it to prolong the life of the cushion, but also to make it easier coming in and out of the cushion cover. So I've made sure I've made a note of all of that. Seam allowances, I write the seam allowances everywhere because that's the one piece of information that I want to come back to again and again. So I make sure and write that down. And then any construction notes, which is things that happen as you're going along. So settings for your machine. If there's a particular size of stitch that you're using for visible stitching, then you'll want to keep that consistent throughout your sewing, so it's worth writing that down while you're going along. This one here, it was about the piping going around the corners. I noted that I've rounded the corners slightly so the piping sits better. I've noted about adding stockinette to the pad so that next time if I come back and I'm doing another cover for the same cushion again, then I'll know that I've already done that. I've made notes about how I'm finishing seams because I'm trying out different ways of finishing seams at the moment. So if I know that I've done this on this one, I can look back and say, that worked better than the previous one, or evaluate as I'm going along. I also write down the time it's taken me, which is really important, especially if you've got multiple projects on the go, because you need a sense of how long something's actually going to take rather than putting your finger in the air and saying that'll take 2 days. And any learnings for next time. What is it that you need to work on? So on this, it's piping round completely square corners. I need a bit, I think everyone needs a bit of practice, and that's a very difficult thing to do. So I've noted down that that's something I need to think about anytime I'm doing a project with piping round square corners. It's something that I have to work on in the future. So that's what I include in my sewing journal. As I say, if anyone wants to share theirs with me, I am over the moon to have a look at them. I find I've kept this for a few years now, and it's amazing even to look back at the number of projects that you've completed in the time, and the variety of them, the variety of fabrics that you've used, the variety of things that you've made. So I hope this has been useful. Thanks very much for watching. Any questions? My contact details are all on the website, on all my social media accounts. So get in touch. Thanks very much. See you later.